The governor last week on Meet the Press said that President Joe Biden's age at 81 is an advantage in his race for a second term. Every survey indicates that the vast majority of Americans do not believe that.
You mentioned Donald Trump. Based on the Siena College New York Times poll, if the election were held today, he'd be president again. He's leading Joe Biden by 5 points across the country. He's tied with Hispanics, a quarter of African Americans with Donald Trump. And every battleground state that we've seen indicates that Donald Trump is ascending here. Your party is whistling past the graveyard, so to speak, that there's a message being sent to Democrats that we want maybe they love Joe Biden.
Well, I love, with respect, the notion that we're whistling past the graveyard. Democrats keep outperforming. We keep winning. Let me be specific. 2018, 2020, 2023, 2024. Not just in congressional races. You're seeing this as well as subnational at the state level. You're seeing it in places like Jacksonville, Florida. You're seeing it at Colorado Springs. You obviously saw it at the Swazi race in New York 3. So we keep outperforming in a post-Dobbs world. You've got a contrast later this year that we're going to make. We're going to lift up the issues. The economy's booming and inflation is clearly cooling. You've got record-breaking markets, by the way, which will inure to the benefit of our capital gains here in California. We have a record of accomplishments with the Biden and Harris administration I'll put up against any in the last half century, just in the last 3 years, and we're going to drive contrast to a guy who tried to light democracy on fire by the name of Donald Trump. So I feel a little bit more confident than perhaps you do. And one thing I've learned, I've never met a poll that voted. People vote. And so our job is to go out there and to campaign. And the Biden administration, I think, is just winding up.
Right. Kristen Welker the other day, you said, listen, Joe Biden's 81 years of age is a positive. It's experience. Yeah, well, the natural inclination is he better at 82? Is he better at 83? Oh. The candidates that you talked about, the Democrats who have overperformed, they aren't octogenarians for the most part. And that's the problem you have. This is an unprecedented issue, and people know age. And by the way, they hear you and they say, listen, that's the kind of guy. Or Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan, they say, that's the kind of candidate that we want.
I mean, I've said this before. Bobby Kennedy said it better than anyone. What the world needs are the qualities of youth, not a time of life, but a state of mind. Not a time of life, but a state of mind. So, look, I care about performance. I care about outcomes. I care about character. I care about temperance, wisdom. I care about someone who actually can work together with the other side. That's exactly what Biden did on the debt ceiling deal, on the Safer Communities and the PACT Act, on the infrastructure bill. It's been a masterclass of delivering results. And look what he's up against. Donald Trump has no interest in solving for anything. He wants to tear this economy down. He wants the markets to collapse. His words, not mine. He doesn't want the border issues solved. Quite the contrary. We had an opportunity to advance that in a bipartisan way under Joe Biden. So we got to move away from this notion. I'm not interested in that stale debate. I'm interested in this notion that somehow governing is not as important as performance. And that's why I'm very confident that the American people come to, I think, a deeper sensibility around the contrast and the cognitive nature of fitness and the frame and compare and contrast of Donald Trump's fitness versus Joe Biden's.
Your party is split on what's happening in Gaza. We know that. Yes or no? Would you support an immediate ceasefire?
I want the war to end. The president just came out supporting a ceasefire and wants the hostages to come home. He's working hard to get the hostages to come home.
Without qualification, no preconditions.
I want this war to end. I want Hamas eliminated, and I want a two-state solution. And I want us to rebuild the capacity to get Saudi Arabia back in and align some diplomatic engagement with Israel. And I've been crystal clear about that. And the president himself has come out, again, supporting consistently the hostage releases and now, just recently, a ceasefire.
There was an incident at Cal recently where students, some needed medical attention, Jewish students. They had to be evacuated through a tunnel because of 200 protesters that broke windows.
Yeah, terrible.
We had the UCSB student body president, anti-Zionist, right. Horrible. So the Jewish caucus in the legislature, Scott Wiener, co-chair from San Francisco, sent out a statement saying, listen, the University of California is not doing enough. The administrators are not doing enough. I know you have said this repeatedly, but why not a news conference from Gavin Newsom saying administrators have to step up, Israeli Jewish students have to be supported?
Well, how about my first, after I came back from Israel, where I met with hostage families, met with Bibi Netanyahu and the President Herzog. After I came back from that trip, the first meeting I had was with the leaders of our three university system leaders on this very topic. Since I've come back, we've updated an anti-Semitism plan that we're about to release. I've been very vocal about this, very specific in terms of what I expect from the leadership, particularly the UCs. And money was put up as a consequence of those meetings to address some of the anti-Semitism. And I've been crystal clear that this state, we do not countenance any anti-Semitism on the campus, period, full stop. So that has been the case very clearly and very explicitly.
Up next, the Panera bread controversy. Did the governor of California exempt a friend and donor from the minimum wage hike for fast food restaurants? That when we return.